This Skoda costs more than the equivalent sized Volkswagen or Audi. So why would you buy it? Well, I'll tell you why in this review. G'day, I'm Matt. This channel's called The Right Car, and this right here is the Skoda Fabia Monte Carlo. It's a sporty little thing, but it costs a lot of money. So I'll tell you whether it lives up to its price in this test. If you want a really cheap hatchback, this isn't it, because it costs more than the likes of the Mazda 2, the Volkswagen Polo, and even the Audi A1. This car is more than $38,500, which is very expensive for a little tiny Skoda, and more expensive than the next model up from here in the Skoda range as well. So it's not going to be right for everyone based on the price, but you do get a fair amount of equipment as standard. It is the Monte Carlo Edition, so you get the black exterior look pack. You also get 18-inch alloy wheels, bi-LED headlights. You've got LED tail lights. On the inside, you get sports seats, a 9.2-inch infotainment screen with sat-nav, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, a digital driver info screen, and heated front seats, but they are manually adjustable. So it does have a fair amount of kit, but it's also kind of expensive. So what are the best alternatives? Let me tell you what I reckon. So the Volkswagen Polo starts at a lower price point, and it comes with the available option of a GTI version, which is properly sporty. So if you do want a hot hatch, it might be a better option than this. It's also not that expensive, whereas this looks a little bit expensive compared to the Polo. And the other option from the Volkswagen group that you might want to check out is the Audi A1. I love that car. I think it looks fantastic, and you can get a really good spec version of the A1 for less money than this. Well, if you are willing to spend a little bit more on extras and options. But if you're looking for a really plush, nice and luxury branded car that's about this size and is very nice, maybe the Audi A1 is going to be a better car for you. And finally, a bit of a left field option here, the MG4. Now, it's an electric hatchback, I know, but it's also pretty sporty to drive. It is a little bit more basic, and you do have to pay more if you want the one with all the good stuff. But the entry-level version, which I've done a test of, you can hit the link up there and see it if you want to check it out. I reckon it's fantastic, and it does offer more space, more practicality, and, well, it's electric. Tell me what you think in the comments. The Skoda Fabia is only 4.1 meters long, so it is pretty little. It's a smaller hatchback, so if you are after something that, well, is very city friendly, it could be a really good choice for you. Now, it's got 5 seats, which some other small cars don't have. They only have 4. And what's this boot like? Well, Skoda has a reputation for making practical cars. Let's check out if this one is. Some other Skodas at this kind of money come with an electric tailgate, but this one doesn't. Maybe that'll come later on. But in here, you do get a bunch of options to secure things. It's kind of like a BDSM party, I would imagine. It's got nets and ropes and stuff for you to tie things up. Yes, so there's a lot of cargo management. Let me show you some of the highlights or some of the bits that you have to contend with. There's this little thing. Not really sure what that's for. And they've also got another cargo net here, which, I mean, for these sorts of contraptions, they're really good to tie down things. If you've got some luggage or something that you think might move around, it's good. There's also another couple of nets there as well. And this mat at the bottom, oh wait there, I have to adjust this. This little tray thing, I guess you could put a shopping bag, maybe some milk or something in there. That's cool, but it does get in the way if you're trying to access under the boot floor. So let me just move that. And then you've got this floor mat, which is fantastic because it's rubberized on one side and it's got carpet on the other side. So if you have, say, wet swimmers or muddy shoes or something like that, you can put it rubber side up. That's good to see. All right, now we're at the boot, and there's plenty of boot space in here. You're talking as much as a Volkswagen Golf, 380 litres, which is very, very good. And under the boot floor, you're still getting a space saver spare wheel. So I reckon it's got a lot of practicality going on in the boot here. Being the Monte Carlo version of the Skoda Fabia, it does come with the sporty elements you would expect in the interior. You've got these sports seats, which are very sculpted and extremely comfortable as well. They've got this nice red pattern down the middle and this sort of carbon fibre-ish look, textured material on the edges. They are very grippy too, which is nice to see. And it's mirrored up on the dashboard with the same sort of checker plate look finish up here. You've got red elements across the dashboard, on the doors as well. And you've also got a dark headliner, which I don't love. It does make it feel a little bit hemmed in, and it is a pretty small car as it is. But I like the way that Skoda has managed to integrate a lot of technology into pretty simple controls. So you do have climate control dials down here. You've got your heated seat buttons. Yep, both seats are heated, but you will find that also they're manual. So they're not electrically adjustable. You have to still slide yourself forwards and backwards. You don't hit a little button. So that's a maybe not as high-end feeling experience for, well, something that costs this much anyway. So you've got these controls, obviously, and then you've also got menu controls on the screen that you have to use if you want to adjust the fan speed or something like that. I find that really annoying, but hey, you do get used to it. So it's just something that you just have to spend some time customizing yourself to. And the screen itself is also pretty good. It's a 9.2-inch screen with sat-nav. You've also got wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as well. I've been finding it pretty simple to use. It has these little sort of swipe and gesture controls, so you can swipe like, anyway, sometimes it swipes, sometimes it doesn't. You've also got buttons down the side, but they're those touch buttons. They're not actual buttons or physical controls and dials and stuff. So again, something you might want to spend a time getting used to, or even spend some time at the showroom if you're checking out this car and seeing if you're okay with how this system works. There's also another screen in front of the driver, a digital instrumentation screen. It's got a bunch of different views that you can have, so you can change the display to show you what you want to see, but it is a little bit difficult to interact with at times, particularly when you're trying to, I don't know, change the trip computer readout or whatever it may be. So just keep that in mind. I like the steering wheel. It's got a sporty feel to it, leather steering wheel it is, and you've got controls that you would expect here as well. You've got your volume and your dial control for this as well. What's weird, you still get a handbrake, a manual handbrake. You also get really bad cup holders. They're quite small. You can't fit a keep cup in there. You will struggle to fit a bigger cup of coffee in there too, but you do score yourself a little storage section underneath here. You've got a wireless phone charger in front of the shifter, another storage tray in front of that, and bottle holders in the doors too. So it is fairly practical. Let's see what the back seat's like. Before we jump in the back, just a couple of clever things that you do get in a Skoda. You get a little bin in the door pocket, which is nice to see. And like all Skodas, you score yourself an umbrella in there, which is very handy when it starts to rain unexpectedly. All right, let's jump in the back. If you're looking for a really roomy second row seat, this isn't going to be the right car for you, because this seat is set for my driving position. I'm 182 centimeters or 6 foot, and my legs are hard up against the seat in front of me. I can barely move them. Footroom is okay, headroom's good, but if you've got long-legged backseat occupants, they might find this to be very uncomfortable. It's not going to be wide enough for 3 adults either, not 3 adults my size anyway, so keep that in mind. This is a small car and it feels small inside, but if you have small backseat occupants, you'll be happy to know there are ISOFIX points in the window seats and 3 top tethers as well. Plus you get directional air vents, which is nice to see in a car at this price point, at this size. You also get 2 USB-C ports down there too. And storage is pretty good, as you would expect. It's a Skoda, so it's got some clever things. It's got double map pockets, so one for probably a device or something like that, and a map pocket as well. And you don't have a fold down armrest with cup holders, which is a bit of an issue, but if they were going to be as bad as the cup holders up front, probably doesn't matter. You've got bottle holders in the doors as well. There is this little tray down here where you could probably put a bottle or a cup too, or maybe some loose items like lollies or toys or whatever it may be. So it's not, I mean, it's not impractical, but it's not as practical as you might expect it to be. But if you want something that is a Skoda, that is a hatchback, that is more practical in the second row, hit the link up there and check out my review of the Skoda Scala. It's the next size up hatchback, but it starts at a lower price than this, so it could be a really good buy for you. only one engine option in the Skoda Fabia range. It's a 1.5 litre 4-cylinder turbocharged petrol engine. You'll see the outputs on your screen now. They are pretty healthy for a car that's this little, and it also comes as standard with a 7-speed dual clutch automatic, or DSG, in Volkswagen and Skoda land, and it's front wheel drive. So it does have, well, quite a bit going for it when it comes to the engine compartment. What's it like to drive? Let's find out. So let's go for a drive in the Skoda Fabia Monte Carlo. Look, it is a sportier take on the small hatchback. So it is, well, a little bit firmer than some other little hatchbacks out there in terms of the ride comfort I'm talking about. It can feel a lot of the bumps in the road surface, especially big bumps at high speeds. It can get a little bit upset by those sorts of interruptions to your progress. So just keep that in mind if you do a lot of high-speed country road driving. It might feel a little bit unsettled in that sort of situation. In urban settings like this, if you're just doing lots of speed humps or low-speed lumps and bumps, it's pretty well sorted. Now it does have 18-inch alloy wheels with pretty sticky tires, so it handles itself pretty well in corners as well. Look, it doesn't have the most exciting steering or anything like that, but it does steer naturally and really responsively, so it's pretty easy to judge what's going to happen when you do turn the wheel. Even if it's just a little bit off center, or if you do hook into a bigger corner, it does respond really nicely. The big downside with those 18-inch wheels and low-profile tires and, you know, the sporty intent of this car is that it does allow a lot of road noise into the cabin, particularly if you're encountering coarse chip road surfaces like there are so many of in Australia. You'll notice that this car can be unrelentingly loud. In fact, frustratingly and annoyingly loud at times. All right, so what about this engine? Well, it's pretty good. It does have sport mode. It's got a few drive modes that you can choose from as well to adjust the characteristics of the drive experience. The engine, I find, in normal mode is actually really responsive and pretty perky too. You put it in sport mode, it just revs harder. So I just think that normal mode is suitable for most people. And it's punchy too. Yeah, quick. I've got the engine start-stop system operating in this car right now, just in an intersection waiting for the traffic lights. So let's see how slow it is to respond with the system and the dual clutch. Let's go. Actually, that's not too bad. Compared to, well, generations old Skoda and Volkswagen products, that's like light speed. So you don't really need to worry about that moment of hesitation that you used to have to think about. These days it's pretty well ironed out. And the dual clutch transmission, or DSG in Skoda or Volkswagen talk, is pretty good. It's pretty quick to respond, as I showed you just then, at lower speeds, and it's also snappy with its shifts as you're going faster. So you don't really need to think about gear shifts either. It's very clever with its logic. It'll drop back a gear if it thinks it needs to, and yeah, it's good. So there's no paddle shifters, which might be a deal breaker for some people who want that really actually sporty drive experience, but I reckon this engine and transmission does a pretty good job. You don't really need to worry about it. There is a little manual action you can do with the shifter if you want to, but hey, leave it up to you to decide whether you want to do that. And if you want to, you can turn off the engine start-stop technology. There's a little button down here next to the shifter, but I usually leave it on because it doesn't bother me that much. And it also helps you save fuel. Speaking of which, let's talk about efficiency. On your screen, you'll see the official combined cycle fuel consumption figure for the Skoda Fabia. That's very impressive. If you can achieve that, good on you. That's pretty good going. Now, if you're wondering what I've seen across a mix of driving, now that's what the official number is supposed to represent, a mix of driving. You'll see it on screen now. So a bit higher than the official numbers, but hey, still pretty efficient for a little hatchback like this, especially one with this much grunt. This car comes with the 5-star ANCAP safety rating from a couple of years ago, but it does have a bunch of standard safety technology included, including auto emergency braking with pedestrian and cyclist detection. There's adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assistance, blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert, a reversing camera, front and rear parking sensors, and a system called, I think it's called maneuver assist or rear maneuver assist. It will basically brake the car for you if it thinks that you're going to hit an obstacle and you aren't reacting to it. So that's pretty nice to see. It also comes with 6 airbags, not as many as some other cars at this kind of price point, but that includes dual front, front side, and full length curtain coverage. Did you miss the news that Skoda has updated its warranty to be a 7-year unlimited kilometre warranty, which is matching the likes of Kia and also SsangYong, MG and GWM Haval? That means that on paper at least, you should have a reliable ownership experience. If you plan to hang on to your car for a long time, lots of Skoda owners do, then it could be a really good thing for you. When it comes to servicing, you've got the choice of 5 or 7-year prepaid service packs. They are pretty affordable, and think about that. If you end up buying a car like this and you pay for a 7-year plan for servicing and you only hang on to the car for 4 years, well, that means you can hand it on with 3 years of warranty and 3 years of servicing already paid for to the next person. That's really, really good for resale value. And when it comes to roadside assist, you'll see the details on your screen too. So I reckon it stacks up pretty well from an ownership perspective. I could totally see why you would buy a Skoda Fabia Monte Carlo. Look, it does have some sporty elements to it. It's pretty well equipped for the money, but it does cost a lot of money. And if I was spending my money on a car like this, I probably wouldn't be buying this. I'd be buying an Audi A1. But tell me what you would choose in the comments section below. I'd love to hear from you. And if you have subscribed, thank you. If you haven't, please do. Join the community and have your say. Thanks. See you in the next one.